Thank you for joining us for this session. I'll be presenting on incorporating nature-based solutions and green infrastructure. The topic said planning, but I want to extend it a little bit to how we practice in the built environment. So the first thing I did when I got the topic was to ask what really is nature-based solutions. And there are various people, institutions that have gone to great lengths to define it. And you can actually see the definitions and the key elements highlighted by each of these institutions. But I also noted that there wasn't much coming out of Africa or Kenya on what it is and how we've operationalized it. So we'll just talk about one of the definitions, and it talks about actions to protect sustainably, manage and restore natural or modified ecosystems that address societal challenges effectively and adaptively, simultaneously providing human well-being and biodiversity benefits. I want you to sit with that first definition, and then I'll ask you a question. In your practice in the built environment, do you do any of these things? By a show of hands, if the answer is yes. Do you protect? Do you manage? Do you restore ecosystems? I think the answer is yes for most of us. The next question is, have you documented your practice? Have you shared what you're doing with the general public or in forums where we can be able to then pull learnings from the continent or from the country? The answer, I think, is no. But it is possible because we are doing it. Maybe we have just not put that label to it, but it might be because lessons would be more important when they're grounded on the context. And the people who are on the ground, it's actually us in the built environment. For you to be able to do this, you have to move from your plans and designs to reality, and that would require you to think about the data. You require the policy to be able to actually operationalize it and how to finance these projects. So for data, we are talking about spatial analysis, ecosystem service valuation, the social component, which we saw was very important from the earlier presentations, and sharing this data for us to be able to learn from one another, to be able to also push towards mitigating challenges we have in the built environment. This can also be actualized in policy, and I'm glad we have different practitioners from the parent ministry and also from the counties. And that means to operationalize nature-based solutions, it means we are intervening as we zone our urban areas. We are thinking about nature-based solutions as we look at the building codes and environmental regulations that sort of help us structure our design processes and planning processes. And more importantly, we are able to find funding that supports nature-based solutions. And this could be through green bonds, it could be through PPPs, developer incentives, climate and development funds. And we've had really good engagement from earlier presenters telling us how they've been able to actualize some of these practices. So when you think about nature-based solutions, and it's at the interface between buildings, landscapes, and the people, there are different examples that I was able to highlight. One of them is a sand dam project in Makueni County, and there they were using local knowledge to be able to adapt by building sand dams to help them deal with the dry periods. There's also a project that is donor funded in Nakuru, and they're doing a lot of work in the landscapes to be able to ensure that their urban realm is well designed, working with nature to be able to achieve what they envision as nature-based solutions to urban problems. So for you or for me, in terms of being able to practice, it could be in the materials you're using, it could be in how you integrate the site and the built environment to the landscape. It could be in what engineer has talked about in the water systems, the materials used, and also the environment created. So my call to action to all of us in the built environment, we need to see how we can mainstream nature-based solutions and green infrastructure in all planning and design stages, even if you're just intervening at the household level. We also need to link it to science, because data is what would be telling us whether we are actually achieving what we've set out to do or not. We also need to embed it in policy and also find ways to finance it. And this would mean then we are creating spaces that are climate smart, people-centered and nature positive. Because when you work with nature, it supports you. And when you fight it, it could possibly likely finish you. So that's all from me. I'll be looking forward to hearing your reactions in the next session.